I was also getting a stipend from the school, like a scholarship. They call it scholarship, but the amount also covered my tuition. So in a way, if they paid me the scholarship, it would cover my tuition and cover my
Yeah.
accommodation.
We'll hand over to her so that she can introduce herself and tell us all the process that we need to hear about today. Hello, welcome to the channel. Today we are so glad to have you. Can you please tell us about this country, introduce yourself to us?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting me here. My name is Bola Harrison, and I'm a PhD student or a doctoral candidate at the University of Hradec Králové in Czech Republic. And I got admitted last year in 2022. I resumed 2022 also. I moved to Czech Republic 2022 as well. And my process was a bit earlier. I started the process in April 2022 was when I started making all the processing, and I think I got my admission in less than about 2 weeks thereabout. So what happened was I applied to the university. I was asked to send all my documents to them. The thing about my own university is that I didn't pay application fee. You apply via email to the faculties. So what you do is you send all your documents to them. They will evaluate the documents with the faculty bodies, and then they'll see if you have the qualification. They will schedule you for an entrance interview. So the interview was scheduled about the same. I applied like March 30. I was scheduled April with some other students in the department, and then I did my interview. I got my results about less than 6 days after the interview. So I got admitted, and then I was told to send my document for evaluation. The evaluation process is that I have to legalize all my documents from the Ministry of Education, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and at the embassy. Because for Nigeria, we use the super legalization clause. So you have to get this stamp on your original documents, the bachelor's degree. Because I'm going for PhD, so I have to legalize my WAEC, my bachelor's, and my master's degree. But for the embassy, the university asked me to legalize only the master's degree, only my most recent degree. But I just did everything because the embassy won't legalize for you without the Ministry of Education and Foreign Affairs. So after doing that, I had to notarize photocopies of the documents. So I took photocopies, and then I had to get a notary lawyer to stamp them, because you don't send your originals to them. So then when I did this, I had to send it. Then they have to evaluate all the courses you did in your, maybe my master's, for instance, now, because I was going for PhD. So they have to check the courses I did, if it is going to be in line with their own academic training, like what they have also in their program. So when they did this process took about 3 to 4 weeks. So it took 4 weeks because they couldn't find my payments, but the process takes like about 3 to 4 weeks for them to get back to you. And during this process, they won't issue you the official admission letter without this process. So it is this process that determines if the documents are intact, or probably maybe you have to start from another level before you can progress for the program. So this took 4 weeks, and then in May, I was told that my document has been evaluated. So after the evaluation, sometime around same May, they will tell you to send your police character and medicals. Now, in some universities, they don't do this for you. You'll be the one to do your medical certificate and police character. You'll be the one to translate it for you by yourself. But in my own faculty, or let me say in the university generally, your medical certificate is needed as part of the admission process. But in my own faculty, they do translate the medicals and the police character for you, so that they can send everything together instead of you having to translate all over again.
Yes.
So because they use DHL, they don't use post service, so they use DHL. So to make it easy for you, you will pay for the translation, but they will send it for you down to your location, which was easier for me. So then I was nominated. Immediately my documents were ready. My coordinator put me in the student mode. So student mode is like an accelerated visa process where the university nominates you to their, they have an office in the university that takes care of nomination, then send your name to the Ministry of Interior. So when they send your name to the Ministry of Interior, it gives you a fast track process to get a visa appointment from the embassy. Yeah, so that's very hard. If you apply to schools where you don't have too many Nigerians or too many people from your region, it helps because the school is in a small city, and there were not too much Black people applying to that school. Number one. Number two is also that if you are a PhD student, generally in Czech Republic, if you are a PhD student, you get appointment first than a master student. So PhD students are prioritized. For the students mode, I'm very certain, but for the general monthly appointments, there's not really any priority. The priority there is on a first come, first serve basis. But for students mode, once you're a PhD student, anytime you apply, it doesn't matter if it's your first or second time, you get priority over other students. So my coordinator put my name in, and I think I got my appointment that same month. So I was given how do I say it, my date by the Friday, because the student mode is twice every month. So luckily for me, the day the dean signed my admission letter, because the dean has to sign. The admission letter is part of what they take to process students mode. So once the dean signed, it coincided with the last day of the students mode. So I got my admission interview date that same week. So I went for my interview. Then even if you are a PhD student, like I said, even if you go to the embassy and there were some errors and you could not do your interview that day, if they put your name again in the student mode, you will still take priority over other students. So that's one of the advantage of PhD students. So it doesn't matter how many times you have to go to the embassy. Once you're a PhD candidate, your name takes preference over other students, then masters, then bachelors. Another thing about the school was they didn't ask me to pay my tuition fee before I was able to get anything. The tuition fee was paid or will be paid upon your arrival to Czech Republic, not before. So that was also another advantage that made me to pick the school. I also want to mention that in my own school, I didn't have to find a professor. I did two applications to two different universities, Aradret and then Padubisa. So the first one I did was Padubisa. I had to find a supervisor who would agree to supervise me, and then after he or she agrees, then I go ahead to submit my application. But for the other school, which I currently got the admission, I didn't have to find a supervisor for my thesis. So they just ask that you submit your research thesis with your documents so they can find someone who is suited in that field to supervise you. And the fact that there was no application fee and I didn't have to pay school fees before I get there. So those were the things I considered. Yes, I didn't have to pay anything. Even accommodation, I didn't have to pay anything. So I think that was why, even though I was paying tuition, it was like, okay, this is something I could try because I didn't have to do anything from Nigeria. So when I got my admission documents, so I got it with my admission letter. They gave me an accommodation contract. I didn't also have to apply for accommodation. The accommodation was sorted out by my faculty. So I didn't pay the deposit. I didn't do anything. So they gave me a contract. All I did was I have to sign a copy, scan it back to them. So the accommodation contract, my admission letter, I was also getting a stipend from the school, like a scholarship. They call it scholarship, but the amount also covered my tuition. So in a way, if they paid me the scholarship, it would cover my tuition and cover my accommodation. So it was really like I was not still spending money at the end of the day.
But you're not spending.
Yes. So even when I spoke to some master students here, when I got here, I discovered that it was not just particular to my program. So master students, I know a master student from Zambia who got a 3,000 euro scholarship. So he pays tuition. So when they pay him his scholarship, he uses the scholarship to pay his school fees. So he sorts his accommodation out. But in my own case, they were giving me a stipend of 430 euro per month. So, which I discovered that they pay you per semester, not that they give you every month. They divide it into two. They give you per each semester. So it is enough to cover your tuition for that semester and almost all, if not, your accommodation. So when it was not stated on their website, but upon admission, they check your degrees and everything, and then they offer you the scholarship. So after doing that, when I got all those documents, I still had money in my account for proof of fund. because I didn't know as at then if they give you the money monthly or quarterly. That's per semester. So I
Mm.
just made sure that I had enough money in my account. So the money then was 110,000 Czech crowns. So it was not up to 5,000 euro. It was around
Oh.
1.8 million naira. So what I did was I made sure that I had my tuition fee, even though I would not pay or something. I made sure I had it, and then I
Mm.
made sure that I had the required amount from the embassy. So at the end of the day, I just put like 3.3 million naira in my account running.
Mm.
So even when I was doing my interview, when they asked me how I was going to finance my study, I told them I was a self-funded student. The consular
Mm.
was even the one who mentioned that, but you have a scholarship. Then I was like, oh yes, I do have a scholarship, but I also have money. So they
Mm.
recognize the scholarship letter you get as part of the money you need. So even if I had not had up to that amount, the scholarship you get, if it covers that 110,000 Czech crowns, then you are safe, because it was like
Mm.
4,300 euro, which is enough
Mm.
for one academic year. So it's covered. So after that, I got my visa in 6 weeks. Some people get in like 4 weeks. I know some PhD students who got in 4 weeks, even some master students who got in 4 weeks or 3 weeks. But I got mine
Mm.
in 6 weeks. Some people in maybe 8 weeks. But Czech embassy doesn't have a clear duration for visa.
Yes, or
And they
visa.
don't have any,
Okay.
because they didn't give me my visa even when I was supposed to start. My program started September 7th. My visa was ready September 26th. But I didn't
Mm.
still get the visa in my hand. So I didn't
Mm.
resume here on time. So I told my department I will come late,
Mm.
so which they allowed. Then for master students, some universities don't allow you to defer. If they tell you that you have to be in the school by September 10, they might only give you a week or two grace. If you don't come before then, your entire program, everything you've done is gone. Okay. You will have to reapply. While there are
Mm.
some schools or some faculties in the same school that will tell you that you have the grace to resume the next semester.
Mm.
So these are the things that I usually tell people to consider. If the school allows you to resume late, that is, are they giving you a grace period of 1 month, or are they giving you a grace period of the next section? So I know some people who could not come in last year September, but who are coming in this February because their department allowed them. So the same thing also for my own case. So I didn't go in when my program started. My school allowed that you can resume later or the next semester.
Mm.
So
Wow. That sounds so good. That sounds so detailed. I know that you guys, it's almost the same process with every other person. If you're applying for masters or bachelors, it might differ with schools. So it is
yeah.
very essential for you to know the school that can help you with all these things. So when you get your admission, it's just the same process. When you
Yeah.
get your admission, the school will send you the requirements, the next thing that you
Mhm.
need to do. But before then, make sure that you have already legalized your documents at the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Foreign Affairs,
Fine.
and then at the Czech embassy. So if they want to go to the Czech embassy for legalization, do they need to book appointment, or you can just
Uh,
go?
no, the super legalization is done 2 days in a week, on Mondays and on Tuesdays, but you can't pick it
Oh,
up the same day. So once you
okay.
take it on Monday, you can pick it up on Friday, only on Fridays.
Mm.
But you can
Mm.
send somebody, if you have like a cousin, a friend, or someone that can do
Yeah,
it for you, you can
yeah.
send, but you just give the person a letter of authorization that
Mm.
this person is someone you know, or maybe your sister or brother, and he or she will submit and pick up on your behalf. So the person
Mm.
goes with their NIN, maybe NIN, any means of identification. So the person will go with it to submit and pick it up for you. That's all.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much. So when you've legalized your document, then you can be able to send to the school the
Yeah,
photocopy, notarized photocopy, and then the
yeah,
school will ask you for any other document you send to them. And when they are done with evaluation, they send back your document to you, and
yeah.
then you will check the offer letter if it comes with scholarship. But before
Mhm.
all this, make sure that you have money in your account running for your proof of fund. And then
Yeah.
when your visa process starts, it's just like every other Schengen country. You will need your insurance, then you will need your accommodation contract. In a case that they did not give you accommodation contract, you will need an accommodation. She's going to send me the list of the schools that are affordable and also the ones that have various packages. And I'm going to keep it in the description. So check it in the description. And guys, I'm going to leave her YouTube channel in the description so that you can as well follow her up, because she shared amazing information about Czech Republic. If help and assistance to move
Yeah.
if you need help and assistance with moving to Czech Republic, she's
Mhm.
your number one go-to.